What is up, party people? Welcome to this week's episode of Saturdays and Seltzers. The NFL is officially back. I know that this audio is going to go out early. The YouTube should go up on time. But if you are new here on YouTube, feel free to like and subscribe and follow us wherever you're listening to our podcast, if that's how you are consuming this. But obviously, this podcast is going to be pretty NFL focused. We did a lot of college football last week. We have some of that for you guys today as well, but mostly NFL. But my name is Kendra Middleton, and I'm joined by my co-host Haley DeMello and our producer Tyler. I feel like I should just ask how you guys are before we get into our HLH. It seems like everyone's had kind of a crazy day. Haley, how are we doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I think that we're all just where we're at professionally. College football season and football season in general is just like crazy time.
Chaotic.
So
yeah,
I think we're all kind of emotionally on the same page right now. But this is honestly like I look forward to doing this every week. So this is probably the highlight of my week.
I always get anxiety before we come on, and then afterwards I'm like, damn, that felt like I went to therapy.
Right, literally.
Tyler, vibe check.
We're good. I'm exhausted. So if I sound exhausted, it's because I'm exhausted.
Play. Perfect. Okay. On a lighter note, we're going to get to our HLH, which we start our show with every single week. It is our high of the last week, low of the last week, and hero of the last week, which is something unexpectedly good that happened to you. We are recording this a little early. We're potentially discussing new upload dates and times. Let us know if you have a preference, but we're going to get together and talk about our schedules probably after this. But that being said, it's Wednesday. Things are going to happen before this episode is probably out or relevant. Whatever. Haley, what is your high?
Well, we have the same high, so we can share together. I think we have the same high and the same low. So you want to do a duo here?
I think I have a crossover with Tyler too. So yeah.
All right, cool. So our high is that we, as if you can tell by Kendra, repping the merch, we went to the PLL quarterfinals this weekend. I kept forgetting if it was quarterfinals or semifinals, but it was quarterfinals. And it was a ton of fun. Literally just spent the entire day together at Gillette, causing absolute mayhem. Only con was that it was super, super hot. So hot. If you've been to Gillette before for like a smaller event like that, or like a high school game or bowl situation, they open only one side, and it was the side that's directly in the sun. And it was so hot
at noon on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, we're getting hit with a huge heat wave in New England right now. So I decided that I was going to wear a jumpsuit, and literally was so hot. I was sweating through it. And Steve had to bring me a pair of shorts for me to change outfits with my PLL merch. So all in all, pretty eventful day, but I had a blast. And the lacrosse was pretty sick too. I've never seen PLL in person. Shout out friend of the show. We got to see Sarah, former host of the show, and she kind of got to, show us a little bit of what she's been up to over there. So it was honestly really fun. It was a good day.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. The kids with the lacrosse sticks on the concourse, man.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
It was literally my worst nightmare.
I am shocked that kids can yield weapons in public like that.
Yeah, so there were an astounding amount of, I would say, about 9 to 14-year-old boys at this event, and they were allowed to bring lacrosse sticks. Because if you've ever been to a PLL event, I never knew this. Something I learned for the first time in person this weekend. The amount of people that get stuff signed by the players at these games is like insane. Like it's literally like girls lining up for One Direction to sign their merch. Like it's absolute insanity. So they bring all this stuff to get signed. And they were somehow allowed to bring lacrosse sticks. Let me know why there's a clear bag policy, but you can bring like a lacrosse stick. I don't know. But anyway,
I've had my tampons on display, but these 14-year-olds can have literal weapons.
Yeah. And so it was just like hundreds of 10 to 14-year-olds with lacrosse sticks and doing what you would expect them to. Kendra, if you want to talk about your concourse journey, that was probably the funniest thing I heard about all day.
Dude, I had to go take a piss. And I was walking back to Haley and our friend Steve. Shout out, Steve. And The number of kids that I thought were gonna poke my eye out with a lacrosse stick or decided to like dodge me as if they're motherfucking Michael Sowers out there. I swear to God. It was intense. I thought I was gonna die or like lose an eye. It was because they're so short. So like what they do is they'll like stick their lacrosse stick under their arm or whatever. And this kid just like shoves his lacrosse stick as like a midget under his arm, and it is right in the direction of my eye. And there were times where I was scared for my life from the sun and children.
You came back with like this glaze over your face, and you were like, I just got juked out by like 13 small children on my way here.
It was crazy. And parents at the end of the day are like, the fuck it meter is absolutely all the way up here. They don't give a shit. Kids are climbing everywhere off the closed seats with the tarps, and like the security guards don't care anymore because it's hot as shit. And parents are just like letting their kids run 80 yards in front of them, screaming Connor after them. And it's just like, all right, we get it.
Yeah, the biggest
Call it a
example
day.
of tired parents would be the popcorn nights at the end of the
Popcorn
game
nights.
that were sitting next to us. Their parents were just like in the back row having a beer, as they should. I mean, I'm sure they'd been there all day. We had been there for games. First game started at 11:30.
11:45, yeah.
11:45. Last game started at 6:30 or 5.
5.
And so it was a long day again in the heat and everything. So these parents were like done in the back having a beer, and they left their kids to just do what kids do. And they were taking popcorn buckets and dumping them out and like carving eye holes into them and putting them on. And it was absolutely hysterical.
And arm guards. And they all got in a fight over who the leader was going to be. And it was awesome.
It was very intense. It got very culty very quickly. It was a great example of like the human spirit. That whole situation. You really went through an emotional roller coaster.
One kid was trying to like be the leader, and this other kid just goes, I'm the leader. I created it. And I was just, it was crazy.
I probably would have left.
All in all, I thought it was pretty fun.
I couldn't do that.
It was a lot. And then we left early and got food.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was kind of a blowout. We left in the fourth of the last game and got tomato soup.
Yeah.
After sitting in the hot sun all day, we got tomato soup.
Yeah, that was kind of wild in hindsight. And then we went to Trader Joe's, did a quick Trader Joe's haul. Filmed it like 3 times and then realized I wasn't in the shot. So that was absolutely
nice.
Haley had some real filming mishaps this weekend, and it was awesome.
It was so bad. I was like, if you know me, you know I'm a mess like 100% of the time. Like whenever I go anywhere or do something, I'm always forgetting something. And I was just like, I felt really prepared for this event. I felt prepared for the PLL. I had it on my calendar for a long time. I thought I remembered everything. And I was so close. Like I remembered my portable charger, but not my cord. Like there were things that I had remembered, but not completely. So I was just a mess the whole day. It was a classic Haley DeMello day for sure.
Steve and Sarah saved our ass. Classic.
Yes, absolutely. Classic. Shout out. Cannot shout them out.
Names. Slay.
All
right, Tyler, your high and my hero are the same, but for different reasons. And I also have a second hero. So Slay, go.
Well, I guess you I don't know what yours is. Clemson lost though, and I may have bet on Clemson, but it always brings a smile to my face when Dabo Swinney loses a football game. I wish it were a home game. I really wish it were a home game in Clemson. Good for Duke though. Great for Duke.
So we're sitting at the bar, and Steve's like, I really like Clemson in this game. I'm gonna bet on them. I was like, Steve, I think Duke could absolutely win this game. And Steve started arguing with me. And I was like, Steve, here's why. And he goes, well, I already put money on it. And then the rest of the night, Haley and I were just like, Duke is my favorite team of all time. Not really for me, but I stood with Haley and I was right. And seeing Steve sad was worth it. So
we were confirmed freaking out.
It was a good game. It was a really good game, actually. It was probably my favorite game to watch this weekend just because Dabo. Seeing a disappointed
true.
Dabo on the sideline, there's nothing
Uh,
better than that.
Dude,
So-
his sprint onto the field, fire.
Oh my god.
The hand, like the hand through the hair at the second half interception or fumble, I can't remember, or missed kick. There were so many things that went wrong.
They could not. They got in the red zone so many times and didn't score. It
I'm
was
not
almost
even a
impressive.
Dabo
It was
hater,
almost
and
impressive.
it was honestly kind of like hard to watch, like dead ass. I was kind of like, this is a little bit sad.
Cringe plus
I've
ratio.
watched the replay of that game like 3 times.
Well, you're a sadist and you hate
You are.
Dabo, so
That's true,
that
yeah.
actually makes total sense, and I'm not surprised by that at all.
No, and if I would have known that Dabo was not going to let his like award-winning offensive coordinator call plays, I would have bet. I would have bet Duke.
All right.
Just for the record.
Interesting.
Haley and I have the same low. It's obviously Jimmy Buffett. I got so many text messages that morning from literally everyone I know. If you watch this show every week, Tyler crops this Jimmy Buffett bag behind me out of the video. And I have this from 2009, and I have one from like the early 2000s as well. Just if you're from Florida, Jimmy Buffett is like ultimate Florida core.
Yeah, he is ultimate Florida core, but he did have a special sweet spot for New England. He had been coming here for years. My parents always went and saw him when he came to Xfinity Center in Mansfield, formerly Great Woods. And Nance, my mom, said when he passed that those are some of her favorite memories, going to those concerts, and the tailgating and the partying. And my aunt and her had a really good time talking about it. And I grew up listening to his music, and with a lot of hand-me-down Margaritaville merch. And I've been to his hotel in Hollywood Beach, and it's really sweet, so we should go. But yeah, definitely a loss. And he ended up donating a ton of money to cancer research. So good on him. Good guy.
The message when it was just like he was surrounded by his like loved ones listening to music and his dogs. The dogs is what killed me.
Yeah.
That is pain if there has ever been pain felt.
I didn't realize he wasn't doing well. I thought he was still performing and stuff.
It was very low key. So he stopped performing. He stopped touring in the spring. I was last in Vegas in December, and I had said to my mom, we were in one of the casinos, and I had seen that he was playing in March, and I was like, I need to come back and see him, because there were rumors that he was sick. He had been fighting. It ended up becoming skin cancer, but he had been fighting it for quite some time. And it just progressed and got worse towards the end. So I wanted to go see him in Vegas, knowing that he probably wasn't going to be around much longer. And my mom was like, well, you got to go to one with a tailgate, where it's really fun. So I ended up not going to the one in Vegas. And I'll probably regret that forever. His last show was in Rhode Island, actually. He came to surprise one of his band members.
That's pretty epic.
Last.
All right, Tyler, what is your low RIP Jimmy Buffett?
Yeah, I feel like I should have gone first so I didn't have to follow that up, but I lost my bets last week. So
yeah, this was
that
tough.
was my low. I'm not a music
As
guy.
I'm sitting here trying to load my DraftKings account.
I'm just
oh my God.
Rip Jimmy, but I'm not a music guy. I don't really know him like that.
Wow.
I don't really know him like that. Mic drop. I don't know why that made me laugh. I want to use Apple Pay. Thank you. All right. So hero. That was mine. My low. All right. I'm done. Haley, I don't understand what your hero is.
You will in a minute.
Okay.
So if you missed the Duke Clemson
I hate this dude.
catastrophe,
I know what you're talking about.
Quarterback Riley Leonard, in his post-game interview, asked his professor to give him an extension on an assignment that was due at midnight.
Yes.
And the professor came back with a video saying your linemen were able to get the assignment in on time, and other people on the team were able to get it in. So I'm not going to make an exception for you. And say what you want. I think that's kind of baller. Say what you want. I get if people don't agree, whatever. But honestly, I've taken classes with D1 athletes. And everyone I know that I've taken a class with is a super hardworking student, and they're super dedicated. And I realize that's not the case everywhere, but I appreciate that they're being held to the same standard that everyone else does, and there's no special treatment. So
I just
honestly,
didn't
I
like that he
respect it.
sat down and recorded a video for it. I thought it was so cringy.
Like, there are times where I do think professors are unrealistic about expectations of
100%.
college students. But if nobody else in your class had a problem, and specifically your teammates, it's also like the beginning of the year. Like, what could you really possibly be doing that's that intense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I
So-
guess it's Duke though. They're smart.
But that's what, I think it's fair to hold the same expectations to every member of the team. That's what being a team is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
true.
care. I just like that Dow got beat by a bunch of accountants.
I will say there was a hockey player in one of my classes for my major junior year who was passed with D's because he was on the hockey team.
Damn.
And I
need to get
know
up and
that
turn
at
a light on
Auburn-
real quick.
That
Keep going.
if all you had to do was write your sport on the back of your test. So
That's crazy. That's insane. Wow.
So
That was I honestly thought that was a pretty good HLH.
that was pretty
Good job, everybody.
Tyler has a hero too.
Oh, Tyler has a hero. He's taken his headphones out, but he's back now. Tyler, your
back.
hero.
My hero. Did y'all hear about this?
Nope.
So Jim Harbaugh had like a press conference of some sort over the weekend to like recap the game that he wasn't coaching which side note, did you all see the Michigan's like tribute to Jim Harbaugh?
No, that's
think
so
the
good.
That's
you would
so
think
Tyler
the
lore.
man died.
That is so good.
You
That's like if
literally
they
would think he
did-
died. They were
That's
protesting
insane.
like him being suspended, and it was a self-imposed suspension. But these guys came out. They all raised the fours first play of the game because he wore 4 at Michigan.
It's kind of like if the Oscars did a tribute to Will Smith. They were
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
oh,
He's still alive, guys. He's right there. But he had a press conference recapping the game, and he was asked about the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball, and he says, no, there's no offense, there's no defense, there's only we fence.
Oh, that's good.
The best
That is
thing
so
the best thing
good.
I've ever heard a coach say.
Damn.
That
I'm
is
inspired,
actually
honestly.
Yeah.
so good.
It's very
I kinda
communist
love
vibes
that.
too. Jim Harbaugh might be a communist.
That is a hot take, Tyler.
Wow.
Are we sure about that?
Yeah, that's like the whole, it's not our team, or it's not your team, it's our team. That's the whole stance of communism. We didn't come here to be political though. So
We did not go here.
Oh my God.
All right. Tyler, where were you on January 6th?
Literally.
that's a good question. I might have been at the beach.
That's your alibi?
Yeah.
That's
All right.
sus.
That is sus as fuck. All right. So we had our fantasy football preview. Haley.
So sorry. I coughed, everybody.
Wow.
My bad.
Do you have something you'd like to share with the class?
Yeah. Sorry. Nope. Go ahead. We have our fantasy preview.
Fantasy football preview. So I already took these screenshots, so we should be able to upload them here. But if you watched last week / listened last week, or you're in our fantasy football thing, we had our draft last week and it was very unhinged. I swear we cut 95% of it
So
out
much of
because
it.
it should never see the light of day. That is how fantasy football goes. Okay. That is the fun of it. But it's week 1 and we all have opinions on how people drafted, and we also have opinions about people. So we're going to tell you who we think is going to win and what our big takeaways are. I'm not going to go through every single thing, just highlights. I play Willie this week. If you watched last week, Willie was on auto draft and just drunk in the chat. So yeah, I am going to ask you guys, because like I said, if I'm going to screw you over, I'm going to do it to your face. Do you think that I should start Odell this week or Michael Thomas this week? I'm starting Odell currently, but Michael Thomas is projected more.
Who are they playing?
Odell's playing against Houston. Hello.
Oh,
And then
hello.
Michael Thomas is playing against Tennessee.
So I am playing Jamal because I think they are going to do well against Tennessee. But I think it's more money guaranteed if you go the opposite way.
You know, it would be nice
Odell.
if I could load my DraftKings account right now, because I really think that Odell has good value at an anytime TD, but I can't remember what the exact number was. I don't know. Tyler, what do you think?
So for the record, I am notoriously awful at fantasy football, so I don't really have many thoughts. I would lean Odell though.
I think that's what I'm finalizing.
I'm also a Michael Thomas hater though, because all he runs is slants.
And Odell anytime TD is plus 200 on DraftKings right now.
Oh, let's go.
And I think I have more faith in our friend Lamar than I do Derek.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. All right, I like my decision. You're Tyler, you're playing Danny. You don't really know Danny, but how confident are you feeling?
I really liked my draft.
Okay.
But I don't know. It could, like I said, I'm bad at fantasy football and I kind of don't really look into it at all ever. So, but I felt like I felt good about my draft.
Yeehaw woo.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my answer, my prediction for that. Because I also said Tyler, but just based on that response, I'm gonna go Danny for the win because Tyler is just absolutely manifesting nothing but negativity. So,
how long have you all known me?
True.
Do I manifest
a long
anything
time
other than negativity?
No, has it worked out for you thus far?
No,
Tyler, you've had a good summer.
True.
See?
And you want to be mad at the moon? I don't think so.
This moon.
The biggest matchup of the week. Biggest matchup of the week.
The real game of the week is truly Nancy and Steve. If you are somehow new here, in the last, I don't know, year, Nancy is Haley's mom, and she does everything with us. She is squad, and we are an anti-Steve podcast, except for when he brings Haley pants.
Yeah, we are allies at the moment. Temporary armistice.
There's an armistice agreement,
but that's temporary. So
I also am pro Steve in a weird way because his team name is Jackson's uncle. True. But I texted Nancy and told her to start George Kittle because for some reason he's on her fucking bench.
Who is she starting over him?
I don't remember, but she did not text me back.
Don't tell me she's starting Juju over him.
Juju's not a tight end.
Oh, no, not a tight end. Who could she be
Even
starting?
if you put him in at your flex, like, hello?
Well, that's what I was wondering, if it was a flex. But...
yeah, I don't know who else. Did she draft Evan Ingram? Am I remembering?
No, I drafted Evan Ingram.
She has Tyler Higbee starting over George Kittle.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
No.
She never answered you?
No.
Okay.
What team is Higbee on? Is he a Bengal?
Tyler Higbee
is a Charger.
He's a Charger?
No, he's in
Ram.
LA Ram. I knew he was in LA.
Anyways,
better quarterback, maybe.
I think that Nancy needs to take a look at this because right now Steve, Slayer of MILFs, is slaying.
Yep.
Did you just call Steve the Slayer of MILFs?
Steve has a history, okay?
Is there lore there?
Steve loves moms.
There. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, take that, Steve.
I just have to shout out Team Weenie. I think he could win the league. He's playing
against
Cat this week. But Haley, how do you feel in your game against Ryan? Because Ryan is our enemy number 2. Honestly, maybe even public enemy number 1 at this point.
Yeah, I think right now he's public enemy number 1 just because I play him this week. And if you don't know, his quarterback is Deshaun. He should not be named. And I'm feeling pretty confident, to be honest. Ryan's projected to have more points. but I have Jalen, and I think that quarterback matchup might be his deficit because I don't know how. I'm manifesting that Deshaun's going to go out there and be absolute trash because that would just make my whole week.
I
Who
am
they
looking
playing
at
week
this
one, do we know?
matchup. Who's
The
playing?
Browns.
Jalen?
The
Cleveland.
The Browns
play.
are playing. They're playing Cincy.
Ooh, yeah.
It's the Battle of Ohio, baby.
Deshaun could have a bad week.
I would love nothing more for that man to have endless bad weeks.
You guys are close in the projections.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. I think that they have projected Deshaun pretty high, and I don't know that he's gonna.
The more I look at my team, the more I hate it.
There are some aspects of my team I really don't
Your team
like.
is an interesting team.
My team's either gonna pop the fuck off and nobody's gonna be able to touch me, or it's gonna be mid as fuck.
Yeah, you're either gonna go off and you're gonna look like a genius, or things could go very poorly.
I'm manifesting that I am him.
You are him.
Because everyone at work loves to call me a boy for some reason.
Oh my god.
Is Kendra a boy name?
No.
I don't think so either. I wonder if it's because it's like Kenny on Twitter. People think I'm a boy. I don't know. I'm not a boy. I stop saying I look like Chicken Little because he is a coward and I am not a coward.
Let me ask you this question. Who should I start for tight end? Dallas Goedert or Dalton Kincaid? Your boy,
shit, that's
Tyler.
a great question.
So this is my other league. I'm in a SpongeBob league. Shout out the Bubble Bowl. My team's name is for the Firemen. So shout out if you get that reference.
Dalton
I feel like
Kincaid
you've
would
got-
be a lot riskier.
I think
agree
so
with
He could
too.
go out there and catch like 2 passes. And
So they're
call it a
playing
day
the
'cause he's a
Jets,
rookie.
Phillies, and New England.
I agree with Tyler.
But he could
Evan
also
Ingram's like
pop off.
established.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people won't really know what to do with him yet. So if he's really
Yeah,
NFL
I
ready,
think it might take him a little while to like work.
So leave him
into
on the
a
bench.
rotation
Leave him on the
with-
bench. Let him warm up, and we'll see how we do.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah, I
what I would
agree.
do.
Me too, but I'm not like I'm not a super risky person except for apparently my entire team. Oh man. All right, any other comments about fantasy this week or our draft?
I am feeling confident against Ryan, both ethically and in fantasy. And I'm also riding for teams Maraid and Team Weenie. I think those are some of my favorite teams that have come out of the draft for sure. Shout out Maraid, we found out, we can confirm she did draft herself, allegedly.
I feel
How
the
can we
same way-
confirm this?
She told us.
I feel the same way
Told
about
us.
Maraid's draft that I do about mine. She's either gonna look like a genius or a
Yeah.
dumbass, and there's no in between.
And that's the way it goes.
Same with Willie
Yep.
and Anthony
I
Richardson.
still think I'm on record. Willie's gonna win the league.
Dude, Haley is like big on Willie too.
I think that it would be the most fantasy
Mhm. And it would be the
finish
funniest outcome
for him
too,
to-
I
It
think.
would be it would be great for the
It would
fun.
be the most
for the meme. It would be
comical.
good.
Yeah. Okay. The moment pretty much probably everyone who listens to this podcast has been waiting for. It is time for our divisional preview of the AFC South ahead of the 2023 NFL season. We did it. We made it. By the time you're listening to this, football is back. It's either happening today or all weekend long. We fucking did it. Okay? Clap for yourselves. Like, we fucking did it, dude. I did not think this season was ever going to come.
It felt like
No.
such a long off season, dude.
It felt so long.
And if you guys didn't know, you two are hearing this for the first time, but I'm currently in the process of compiling all of these. So we will be sharing our complete NFL season predictions for the last like 6 months, which have probably honestly changed, but here we are.
True. It's true. Okay. I did not look at you guys' rankings.
We are all
but
the same.
Are we all the same? I kind of
Wow.
figured
Yeah,
we
so
might
we can
be.
go one at a time. Let's do one at a time for each
we
each
are
team.
AFC South experts. And if this isn't
yep.
how it goes,
I can't wait for the Colts to win the division.
oh my God, Tyler, shut up.
Should we start there or at the top?
Yeah, we're starting with the Colts now. But if that happened, I think
I'm just saying it's
only
going to happen because we all picked them to come in last.
I will walk into traffic, and I think Jonathan Taylor will cry himself to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, that would take an absolute miracle.
It really would.
What if Anthony Richardson is like league MVP?
I don't know, man.
It would be crazy.
That would be
I think I
wild.
would buy a lottery ticket.
That would be a trip.
All right, so we all have the Colts last. I have them going 5-12. I don't know what their over/under is sitting at right now. These are just my notes from
6.5.
when I had.
Yes, last night anyway.
Like that under.
I don't know if it's changed. I
also
too.
like
I think
the
they
under.
might win like 3
Damn.
games.
I need to freaking fix my DraftKings right now. I'm doing this mid-show.
You've been trying to fix your DraftKings the whole time. Do we need to take a timeout and let you figure it out?
I need to go grab my credit card. Hold on.
Oh my God, I'm dead. Well, while you're doing that, I'll do a 2022 recap for the Colts. So they were 4-12-1. Their PFF grades, they were 27th overall, 29th in offense, and 17th in defense. Which I think might be one of the worst team grades that we've seen so far from last year. Like, that's pretty, to have none of those categories be
rough.
somewhat good is not great.
No, it's rough.
To be fair, I'm not a degenerate. I just don't know the CVV number on my debit card because
I'm relate.
On DraftKings, you have to pay with debit, like any betting site, because I only use my credit card for shit because points, duh. And now I'm sitting here like a dumbass because I don't know my fucking CVV number. So anyways, Haley, thank you for the recap.
You're very welcome.
I'm not a degenerate, god damn it.
I'm not a degenerate, god damn it. The Anthony Richardson passing prop. Here we go. 2,600.5 passing yards. Thoughts, my friends?
I like the under on that. I think that Gardner Minshew is going to play at some point.
Yeah, I kind of think Richardson gets hurt. Richardson, though, he's only been a starter for he has 12 games starting experience under his belt. That's crazy.
That is insane.
A starting quarterback in the NFL.
I wish that he was. I really think that Gardner. Here's the thing. I think that Gardner should start. I think that he should sit behind him for at least a few games. That being said, I think when you draft someone like Anthony Richardson, it can't be one of these early like picks that you just have to throw out there and hope does well. He needs to go somewhere that is going to have older quarterback turnover and sit under somebody for a while. I think that that's one of the reasons that we see some of these younger quarterbacks get fucked up when they start so early. Like they should have had Aaron Rodgers in New York when they drafted Zach Wilson so that he could sit behind him the same way that he sat behind Brett Favre. There are certain quarterbacks where you just have to do that, and especially if you're not in a dire situation. And I think that Anthony Richardson is one of those players. That being said, because of his play style and like Tyler mentioned, the lack of games that he's played, I think he's either going to get hurt or he's going to make too many mistakes, and we're going to see Gardner Minshew at some point this season. So I'm not liking anything over for Anthony Richardson except for interceptions.
I don't think he's going to get benched because he's playing poorly necessarily. I think we're expecting him to play poorly, and I think they're expecting things to not go very great for him. Like, especially with Jonathan Taylor out, they don't really have a true number one wide receiver. The success of this team is entirely on his shoulders. And that's not great. But I think we see Gardner Minshew because he gets hurt, personally. He's not the healthiest. He hasn't shown to like be sustainably healthy.
I just think their defense sucks. Their offensive line isn't this like braggable punchline that it used to be, and they don't have an identity on any side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just don't have.
They don't really know who they are right now.
No, and it's been a tough offseason. Media wise, coverage wise, like not a great look for them with that whole situation that they dealt with, or lack thereof of dealing with. But I just think that their morale has got to not be very high.
No, it can't be. I like them to have a top 5 pick in the draft.
Long con question
pick,
mark?
Right? No, I don't think they would draft. Okay, I think and what's his name being a psychopath owner. I don't think
Jim
Irsay. Dale
I think
Dimmadome.
he's all in on Anthony Richardson. And I
The
don't
thing
think he would
is,
turn his back on him after 1 year, even if they do have the number one. But maybe that's just me.
I love Gardner Minshew, obviously, just because of the memes. But if I were the Colts, and I get that they're not the smartest team in the league, Jim Irsay is kind of a dumbass. I would have been one of these teams willing to either bring in Malik Cunningham or sign for a veteran like Josh Dobbs, or maybe even gotten in on the Dorian Thompson Robinson situation. I would have probably given up a lot of shit for Tyler Huntley to let either Anthony Richardson sit under them or have someone behind Anthony Richardson that's not like Gardner Minshew, that has a similar play style, that if something happens to him or it's not working out, not only do you have friendly competition, or you have someone who you can game plan similarly enough to someone that you already have.
It does give me Dallas vibes in the sense that I think we're starting to see that ownership is making a great deal of calls in what's going on with the team, and it's not translating to the field. It's not working. So I think that until there's an organizational structure change, or they get a new GM in there, or another situation where maybe it's a front office shift, I think that they're going to just continue to be kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
Definitely this year, anyway. I'm not going to speak on the future. They could turn things around. I don't like.
I
know how
don't think
y'all
an
feel about
ownership
Shane
situation like
Steichen.
this cannot, like, I think that it's without changing something there, it's not going to improve.
Yeah, no, they definitely need to make changes. But I don't know. My draft pick for them, Martin Harrison Jr. That's who I'm
Ooh,
thinking, because
I
they
like that.
need a number one wide receiver. He's
Yeah.
there. They're gonna have a top 5 pick. I think he goes top 5.
I think inevitably they're going
And
to
it's a
wind up
family ties situation too.
I could see that, but also I think that they need to get back to the offensive line that they used to have, because one, you're either going to have a mobile quarterback and you're going to need to give him time or space, or you're inevitably going to sign Jonathan Taylor, and which I think is a great investment as young as he is. Do I think that he's on the down curve? Yes. Do I think that you might be able to, well, no, you're gonna have to overpay him now. Honestly, you pissed me off. You owe
At
me
this
more
point,
money.
yeah.
Yeah. No, so I take that back. I still think I'm on the offensive line pick, but I don't hate the wide receiver. Would probably be my number 2 solution.
I just think they could
running
probably
back's late.
address the offensive line in free agency. They have a lot of money.
Again, but it's like
they
they
have a
need to
ton of
make
money.
the
They have a
right
ton.
decisions to, like, that's the thing. Like,
Yeah, I
having
don't
money and
trust them to
being
make
able to
the right decisions,
effectively
but
use it are two different things.
yeah, I don't trust them to be able to logically go through this, but
Right.
it's
Yeah,
what they should do. Is
It's
more
true.
what I'm saying.
all right. Any other Colts thoughts?
No,
Nope.
they're bad.
Texans. Once again, I'm not sure if these predictions for betting are still accurate,
6.5 is the number I saw last night.
I have the Texans as my potential dark horse in this division. I just think that they got so much better, and I'm so in on D'Amico Ryans.
Mhm.
I have CJ Stroud as my favorite for rookie of the year, even though he looked like shit in the preseason. I like their rushing attack. I like that they signed Dalton Schultz. I love Laramie Tunsil because he obviously is pro weed. They have Shaq Mason at right guard now, which, sorry, Haley, RIP. And even though there's a lot of question marks about health on their defense, I really think that with their pick in the draft, I think that they're getting a lot better.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you
They're
said.
the future of the division, them and the Jags.
I think they did nothing but good things this offseason. D'Amico Ryans is making a lot of. It reminds me of a lot of what Dan Campbell did when he came into Detroit. He signed like a ton of veterans. He's changing the culture completely for the better. And I don't. I think this team could win like close upwards of 8-9 games if everything goes well. Because they don't have they don't have like a murderer's row on their schedule.
No, they play in the AFC South. You know, it's the second easiest division in football right now. But my thing is, I think that they could shock the world a little, nothing crazy. I think 7-8 wins is really like that sweet spot for them to show some progression and buy into what D'Amico's doing. But the thing is, they have to stay healthy.
Yeah.
They're young and they're already injured. I think if you go too far into that depth chart, you're looking either 1 to regress and 2 be right back in that top 1, 2, 3 pick category. And as great as that sounds for the future, it's worse for the future ahead of that because you're going to have to pay way too many people at one time, and that's expecting you to draft perfectly.
Yeah. And coaches
Yeah.
don't get as much time these days to
It's true.
build as they used to. Like you
Yeah.
might get 3 years if they're on their third head coach in 3 years.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna come out and say that I disagree with both of you. I have absolutely little to no faith in the Houston Texans, just based on previous history and what they've kind of failed to do with the new coaching situation. I do love D'Amico Ryans. I think that's a really smart coaching pick for them. And I agree that they've made some improvements, but if you just look at where they are last year, and I know it's not last year and they've made improvements and things are different, but 32nd overall, 32nd in offense, 31st in defense. Like, yes, they've signed people and they have CJ Stroud. And if you think that he's going to be great, that's hype. I am not quick to throw my entire faith behind a rookie just based out of personal experience. But I don't know. It will make me happy if they do really well, but I'm not 100% a believer, and I'm actually going to take the under on that because I don't see it coming to fruition. But that's just me being cynical. So now, Tyler, you know how it feels.
Yeah, no, I can't speak against someone being cynical. I love to be cynical. I think worst case scenario, they win 5 games. Personally,
Worst case?
I think that's kind of the worst case.
All right.
I don't think that's great.
No, it's not great, but it's still an improvement on last year, technically.
Yeah, well, it's easy to improve 313-1.
Yeah.
With 420 points allowed. Shout out 420.
Hell yeah, 420-69 in the building.
Also, before we move on, Texans, contender for first team all name in the NFL. Their second round pick, Juice Scruggs.
Juice Scruggs,
Out of
yeah.
Penn State. I love that guy.
Love Juice.
Good
yeah,
one.
I have him in our notes too. All right. Any other Texans thoughts before we talk about Mayo Eaters for a second?
No, we can do it.
All right.
Oh, I did want to say that I understand that my pessimism is bad, but I'm hesitant with a rookie heavy team under new leadership because Miracle, the Mighty Ducks, and Space Jam have taught me nothing, apparently.
Dude, live your truth. All right. So the Tennessee Titans, I know a lot of people are favoring the Titans still in this division. I don't know how.
That's all they talk about on Tennessee Sports Radio.
Because they're Jags haters. Everybody's so quick to hate the Jags.
Tyler, can you tell me what your homies up there are saying? Because I don't listen to them.
I tend to turn the radio off whenever they start talking about the Titans because they're such homers. It's hard to listen to.
Yeah.
They love the DeAndre Hopkins acquisition, which I am kind of hesitant on. It reminds me of Julio Jones, and Julio Jones didn't do that much with them. They really like Levis, for obviously, which I kind of don't disagree because of the value they got him at in the second round. If they would have drafted him as high as they had in the first round, I don't think I would like it. But because he
just
fell
looked
to
like
the second
shit
round, yeah, because he fell to the second round, I don't hate it. I don't really believe in the preseason, as I've been on record having said before. And I don't know.
Can I pose a question to the group?
Yes.
Can you give me your sign, backup, cut Tannehill, Malik, and Will Levis? Start, backup, and cut.
I'm in that order. I'm starting Tannehill. I'm keeping Malik, and I'm cutting Will.
Yeah, obviously they can keep. I'm
flipping Will and Malik. Maybe because I have a vendetta against the University of Liberty,
and you're Will Levis coded,
and Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn too, but recency, Liberty outweighs Auburn.
I think that if they
I-
figure out the QB position issue and they can get confident there,
Yeah, I don't think they're a bad team. I think
and
they're kind of a
I
mid
think they
team.
can sneak through their schedule though. Like I
Yeah,
think
it's
that they
not
can.
the most difficult schedule in the world.
Yeah,
either.
they can come out with like 9-8. I think I feel confident with that. At
Yeah,
worst.
I have them hovering
Or at
around 8 or
best.
9 wins,
Yeah, 8 or 9.
like
I have
just
them-
over for the
I have
over
them
under.
going 9-8, and it's because not only of the quarterback situation. The NFC South and the AFC South play each other this year. That's a really tough schedule to pull. The AFC is tough, and when you pull, what might be the best or the second best division in football this year, potential for it, it's a tougher schedule. And the only reason I'm taking the over situation is because I think that Mike Vrabel and Derrick Henry can put you over 500.
Yeah, I also feel 7.5 as your over under feels kind of low.
I was gonna say I feel confident going over 7.5
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
and
I don't think it's going to go crazy over, but I think it's going to be around 8 or 9.
Me too.
I'm-
Like, do I expect them to regress? Yeah, but like not.
Yeah.
I also really like Traylon Burks.
I also really
Okay.
like
I'm a
Mike
big fan of
Vrabel.
him.
Shout out Mike Vrabel. Nancy's a huge fan, and I am rooting for him, not necessarily the Titans, but I'm rooting for Mike Vrabel.
I'm rooting for that guy who was in his 2020 draft room dressed like Frozone, if you all remember.
I do.
One of the most unhinged draft rooms. I'll always remember that draft room.
Oh man.
And now
All
is the moment we've all been waiting for.
Any other Titans thoughts?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. So the Jacksonville Jaguars. This might be, I don't think that this is a homer take. I'm really going to say it. People love to give me shit. I have been nothing but a realist about the Jaguars my entire life. Okay. This is not a homer take. We're finally good. Let me fucking have this. Okay. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars going 12-5.
I think
said
that's
it.
completely fair.
Yeah, I think that's good. I have them hovering around 10.
I have them at least 10.
Okay. So first of all, I don't think that anybody in this division can outscore this Jaguars offense. Our defense is going to be dog shit. I know that. And that's why I don't have us actually winning the Super Bowl this year or even making it to the Super Bowl. Because, Haley, what does Nancy always say?
Offense sells tickets, defense wins games.
Thank you. Thank you. I need Trayvon Walker to make a huge step. I get that it's his second year. I need progress. I need Trayvon Walker. I also need I know that this line is going to look a little different week to week potentially, but I need whoever is playing in place of Cam Robinson for the first 4 games to step it the fuck up, Kyle. Also, it is a quarterback league, okay? And the quarterbacks in this division do not scare me. CJ Stroud's a rookie. Am I scared to play him in a couple years? Absolutely, probably. Right now, no. Ryan Tannehill, stick a fork in him. He's done. And Anthony Richardson, okay? Interception machine.
Literally.
The defense is and that's what I'm saying is our defense good? No, but to go against these quarterbacks, fine. We're going to clean some people's pockets.
It also doesn't help that I cursed the cornerback position. And
yes.
That was my bad. 100% my bad.
Thank you. I also need Devin Lloyd and Chad Muma to take a step up. I know that Chad Muma played better than people expected him to last year, but keep learning, keep getting better. Devin Lloyd, stop getting lost in coverage. And the special teams, I know that a lot of people don't think it matters, but I think the Jaguars have the best special teams in the league. Brandon McManus has been one of the best kickers consistently over the last decade. Logan Cook, best punter in the league. He's a difference maker. And I know that the rules are a little bit different this year, but Jamal Agnew will run one back this season. And I only have a couple tough games on this schedule, truly. I'm feeling an AFC championship. But that's it. We're gonna lose in the AFC championship. I'm calling it.
That would be huge.
I can see that happening. I think it's going to be a big year for Trevor.
I think so too.
I think it's going to kind of be like a coming out party.
I think so too. He's looked really good in camp from what I've seen. I think he's had, his dress rehearsals are over. He's ready for the main show. I just hope that he has And on paper they look. Yeah, I think it's on paper and in person. I think they're going to be great. I'm
A lot of
really
weapons around
excited.
him. No.
A lot of weapons around him. I have. Yeah, I mean,
I have
love
odds
the Jags.
on Trevor at plus 1,500 for MVP this season.
Wow,
I bet on
love
that last year, and it was nothing but disappointing. I don't know if I can do that again.
That is my only Jaguars bet this season. That's it. I didn't do anything else.
Can Ridley win comeback player? I guess I don't
It's
like
DeMar.
it because DeMar. But yeah, could he win comeback player of the
I
year
don't
though,
think
since he was
so.
suspended?
I don't think they would.
I don't think they would either.
I
Well-
think based on politics alone.
Yeah.
While we're on the subject,
He'll win my
Kendra,
comeback player of the year.
Slay.
My personal.
do you want to run through which games you'll be attending this season?
Not set in stone. Let me pull up their schedule. Also, are you guys you guys are just doing Bengals, correct?
I will be there
Potentially.
December 3rd.
I got to get through this move before I start scheduling any trips.
All right. I am going to 99.9% sure the 49ers game at home, the Titans game at home, the Bengals game at home, and maybe either the Ravens or Panthers game, and probably Tennessee with you guys.
Yeah,
Heck
come to
yeah.
a Tennessee game.
Yeah, I think we should do 10. Yeah, we should do that.
Isn't that
Mhm.
week 18?
Yeah, it's last week.
Yeah, come here for week 18. That'd be fun.
I probably, depending on how the season goes, won't do either the Panthers or the Ravens because if all goes accordingly, I'll be saving for the playoffs.
And hopefully, fingers crossed, Vegas.
The
for
Super Bowl. I think we should go
just
either
to put
way.
it on your radar, draft in Detroit.
Yes, that is a lock.
That is, we have to make that trip happen.
Can we lock it down now? Bengals draft. And then
and Super Bowl. Hopefully.
Super Bowl, even if we don't go to the game, we can get cheap
Just
hotel room.
Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Potentially.
What's considered a cheap hotel room for Super Bowl weekend?
Yeah,
We'll see.
exactly.
We need to start looking at that now if we're doing that.
I think that is easily, I will do that now.
Yeah.
Or would we rather go to the F1 race and get a cheap hotel room?
I
Not go to the
I
race,
saw a
but just go to
tweet, and I don't know
Vegas.
how accurate this was. The F1 tickets for standing room only, $500,000.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
500?
That's the tweet I saw.
That can't be
No,
true.
I think it was there.
I was stunned.
The number I saw was 15,000. But if they have sold out of those, if people are paying them, which they probably are, it's very likely that they've hiked the prices up. I've heard they've stopped selling hotel rooms in Vegas for that week, because it's going to be so crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous.
I have friends I could stay with for surezies.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to be there for like. I think I would rather go to Austin than Vegas. To be honest.
Johnny EP pocket.
Austin
girl-
might be more doable, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still thinking Austin, but I'm kind of just thinking about going and vibing and seeing how far being a hot girl will get me.
That's ambitious of you. I think that probably every woman in Vegas is going to be thinking the same thing.
Yeah, probably. It's true. Yeah, but I don't know. It's never failed me in Vegas with shit before. It might not fail me now. I don't know. Haley, you have to admit, my luck in Vegas is unlike anything.
It is good. I don't know. I don't know about this one. If I think about how much it costs to go to Vegas, I would rather put the money towards the Super Bowl than F1. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, word. Heard.
And do F1 in Austin.
I'm down. I'm down to clown.
At Duracell.
Okay.
At
fucking Duracell.
At Duracell. Clip
I
this.
will be a goddamn
Clip it.
battery forever.
Clip it.
I can't say
Duracell.
goddamn if we're gonna clip it.
Clip it. Right here. Duracell.
Here's the thing. We'll preview F1 next week. We'll do like a nice subtle like lob to Duracell. Then I can clip it and it'll look really cute and clean. And I
Okay.
won't be looking like I am a terrible human on the internet.
Tea.
Love you at Duracell.
Love you, Duracell. Friend
You
of
guys
the
have
show.
any dark horses that are different than the Texans?
Yeah, I am not a Texans believer. I know you guys
True.
are riding with them super hard. I have Jags for all of my questions for this division. I think the Jags are just gonna come out of the division
I've created a
absolutely
monster.
steaming.
I don't think you understand
And-
what dark horse means.
No, because I don't think Texans are a dark horse. I think if they win 5 games, that doesn't make them a dark horse. They still suck. And I think the Jags are going to surprise people because people still sleep on the Jags.
True.
Not even just in
Mostly
the
people
AFC,
here.
but in the NFL in general. And I
Yeah.
think that they have this kind of reputation of like the late 90s team that's still trying to, make it to a championship and win. And it's like, honestly, I think this year more than the last couple years, at least as I've been following the team, they have the most momentum going for them. And I think they're going to shut
Word.
the haters up this season.
Yeah,
And that's my
Haley.
definition of a dark horse, Tyler, before you
I've-
mansplain it to me.
Yes, I've created
Thanks.
a monster. That's my girl.
Oh, jeez.
Tell them. Tell them.
Stressed. Anyway,
Yeah.
I have Jags making the playoffs.
Me too.
Great.
Tyler,
Yeah, as do I.
any dark horse? All right, we're all in. All right. All right, that wraps up our division previews. We got through that that was the most contention we've had all season, and I did not think we would have any.
I know.
Most contention when we all had the same top 4.
Tyler just got roasted.
And I'm not sorry.
You shouldn't be.
Yeah, what's new?
The moon's gonna tell Tyler that something happened later. I have a feeling. Couple other NFL notes to get to before we talk about some college football. Big storylines this week. Jack Jones charges were dropped. I will say it. Kris Jenner works hard, but Bill Belichick works harder. That's all I have to say. Any other thoughts?
I don't know, man. That's yeah.
If this were anybody
Not
else, they'd be in jail
surprised.
for the rest of forever.
I heard on the radio this morning that the lesson to take away is that if you're gonna break the law at the airport, be super obvious about it, and even worse than the rules say not to do, and you won't get in trouble. So if there's any lesson that people could take away, I think.
And be a professional athlete for your local team.
Yeah.
The end.
Well, that's the thing. If he wasn't.
Exactly. Even if you have broken into, say, a Panda Express prior.
Shout out Panda
Hypothetically.
Express.
Shout out Panda. Can we insert Panda by designer again? Other news to talk about: Travis Kelce injured, Cooper Kupp out week 1. Do you guys think that this is a surprise from either? I think we kind of have known about Cooper Kupp. Not so much a surprise that he's not playing. Do you think Travis is going to play?
I kind of feel probably not, since it's tomorrow. And we only kind of found out about it today. What shocked me is that Vegas thinks Travis Kelce is worth 2 points because the line fell like by 2 points, which is crazy to me. That player alone is worth 2 points.
That's a good point.
It's interesting.
That's a good point.
Feels like such a trap game, though. We'll get into it in the matchups to watch.
So many people had Travis
game.
Kelce for first touchdown of the season.
Yeah. Not me.
Yeah. Rip
Couldn't
to
be me.
everybody who has him in fantasy. Sorry.
Yeah, I
He'll be
tweeted
back.
out today.
I think he'll be fine.
No, I know, but it's
just a
not great.
hyperextension, I think.
It's not great. I mean, I'm sure that's a high pick for a lot of people.
Oh,
that
for
they're
sure,
not going to
yeah.
be able to play week 1.
But I
to
bet he'll be
brag.
fine week 2.
Not to brag, I hyperextended my knee one time and then I sat in the car for 5 days. Just saying.
Damn.
Yeah.
Painful.
Only other kind of noteworthy thing is that Shady McCoy is he has the worst takes of all time.
It's kind of embarrassing. It's
what's
cringe.
new?
Today,
What is he talking about now?
Today there was this video of him on some fucking morning show. I don't remember which one. I'm sorry if you're on. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Whatever. He was on some morning show. And they were talking about, the season and whatever, Justin Herbert versus Trevor Lawrence. I don't know. And if you're all in on Justin Herbert over Trevor Lawrence, fine. I'm not going to knock you. I think he's a great quarterback. I just don't think that he is solidified himself into the hype that people give him.
I
But
don't think he's got
neither
as
has
good weapons
Trevor.
around him either.
But neither has Trevor. Don't get me wrong. He threw a lot of picks last season and a lot of picks the season before, and it's an issue. But the thing is that it's a quarterback-driven league, and Trevor Lawrence is 2-0 against Justin Herbert. I'm sorry, but like it's a quarterback-driven league. And sure, he hasn't been in the league as much time as Tom Brady. Tom Brady turned nobody weapons into people. He still has fucking Keenan Allen, okay? His offense really isn't that bad. And the part that really just drove this home for me was that he was dogging on Trevor, first of all, but then he had the cojones to say that the Jacksonville Jaguars offense runs through Travis Etienne. I'm sorry.
Insane.
That's crazy.
Not only is he not I would say I'm going to go top 8 running back in the league. They're probably going to run a tandem style running back duo this year. And on top of that, he's only played one fucking season. And you're going to say that the offense runs through him, especially when someone like Trevor Lawrence, who's a first overall phenom pick, is on that fucking team. You don't watch football. I'm sorry, you don't watch football if that's how you feel. And I'm one of those people who's so pro, having former athletes, former NFL players, or whoever commentating on a sport. But that's embarrassing. Like, that just tells me that you might know the game, but you're not watching what's currently going on.
Yeah, I understand why you're frustrated. That's for sure.
It's not even just like a frustration thing. It's just like you're taking a job away from somebody because you're just walking clickbait and no other reason. Like, none of your takes are ever good.
Yeah. I had kind of like the opposite experience with Mike Reese this week on Zolak and Bertrand in the morning. He does ESPN football, and I was really impressed with him. I thought he did a really good job. I thought that
Mike Reese
he's pretty baller. I was impressed.
All right.
Add some positivity.
I feel like he's a little polarizing, but a lot of people love him.
T?
All right. That is all the news / things I'm frustrated with.
I have one thing. Did y'all see the headline about Juju Smith's knee? Apparently it could explode at any moment.
Oh, that's good.
He's a time bomb. He's the new time bomb.
I've been more focused personally on the continued injury curse that is plaguing New England right now, with 3 out of 5 of our starting O-line now injured for the game 1. Mr. Tom Brady back in town for Tom Knight, basically. And if you know anything about the Patriots, you know the O-line is never somewhere that we need injuries or any kind of,
Haley,
hits. So
can I ask you a question?
What?
I know you're not a betting girly.
Nope.
But can I ask you why, outside of this quote unquote Super Bowl hangover, why are bettors and whomever so in on the Patriots to win this game against the Eagles?
I think a lot of it is sentimental, in the sense that I don't have high hopes going. I don't think we're going to win this game, but I think that that would be the only thing I would consider, because on paper, team by team, it's so obvious to me.
The only thing I'll give him is home field advantage.
Home field advantage, and the fact that it's Tom Brady night, and that it's
and Tom Brady's in the building.
Right. I
think
maybe that's why. I think that's what they're taking.
Tom's in the building.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that's definitely probably being taken into consideration.
What I don't think is
stupid.
What I don't think is being taken into consideration is that, yes, the defense is definitely the stronger part of the team for a lot of reasons. Which is
so crazy.
For a lot of reasons. But the thing is that, okay, Jalen Hurts in that offense can keep up with that defense. The issue is that the Patriots offense cannot keep up with the Eagles defense. I am expecting the Eagles defense to take a huge jump this year. I don't know why they were ranked so low in fantasy. I think
so weird. I think it's because of the new defensive coordinator. I think it's the new defensive coordinator.
I don't care.
That's the only thing I can think of, because it doesn't make any sense. maybe the age, but I think they still got some good draft picks that went there. So it's like,
Dude,
Yeah, they have
Jalen
like the
motherfucking
entire.
Carter.
They have the
I know.
entire
The
University
entire
of
Georgia defense. Yeah.
exactly.
I think that this defense is going to eat. There's going to be multiple candidates for
agree.
defensive.
Like maybe they just think it's
offensive
such a
defense.
young defense.
No, like I was just going to say, I think that there's a lot of possibility that defensive rookie of the year, there are multiple options from this
Yeah.
team.
100%.
Easily.
I just don't understand what people like about this game so much, other
No.
than the fact that it's at home.
I don't
and there's
understand
this
what people like
quote-unquote
about the Patriots in general.
Yeah, I mean, I
Because
have a
there's a
couple
lot of people that are
Patriots
high on
futures.
Patriots this year. I just
I have
don't
a couple
see it.
Patriots futures. I'm not high on the Patriots either. I do have. I think
They're
I
they're a
took
member of the long con in my book.
I think I took them
I
at the
disagree
over
with
6.5 mark, just because so many people are dogging on them. I like to get away from the crowd for certain things. I also have the Juju touchdown over, and it's only because one of Mike Gesicki's injury, and two because him and Mac Jones very clearly have chemistry on and off the field, and I think that matters.
I am very nervous for this season. I hate to sound like a pessimist, but I made clear on the show how I feel about Mac, how I feel about the quarterback position. I didn't think it was possible, but somehow I feel less confident than I did at the beginning of preseason in the quarterback position. And as Kendra said multiple times throughout the show, it's a quarterback league. And I understand that Mac Jones went to Alabama and he did successful there under Bill O'Brien, but I don't know necessarily how that's going to translate into the NFL. I feel like we have this conversation every year with every draft and the top quarterbacks being picked, but the transition from, college football to the NFL doesn't work for everybody.
When are we going to stop saying? When are we going to stop giving Mac that excuse? It's been like 3 years.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But that's even like, and even as much as I love Bill O'Brien, I think that that's a huge piece of it. I think that was literally a hire for Mac to bring Alabama 100%. To New England. And I just don't see it working, and it doesn't seem like an investment that's going to pay off. And I know that seems really like pessimistic of me, but I just don't have a lot of confidence in him. And I'm not a huge fan of how he conducted himself last season with everything that went down. And I think Matt Patricia is now with the defense on the Eagles, and he's going to come into Gillette on Sunday and absolutely want to whoop our ass, because when the Lions came to Gillette last year, he is no dummy. He holds a little bit of a grudge against his former teams. And I think that the Eagles defense is going to come out pretty hard against Mac. I will not lie.
I think that Jalen Carter is going to want to eat him alive.
And God forbid Mac gets hurt. Then what? Like literally
Matt
then
Corral
what?
Season, baby.
It's
time for the Golden Corral.
It's just crazy.
Feasting at the Golden Corral.
Oh God. It's so crazy.
We should trademark that now.
Trademark the Golden Corral.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts before we get into our games to watch?
Nope.
No.
All right. Haley and I have the same game of the week. Bills Jets, baby. We're rocking it. I think that that's evident. We're going to see what the Jets are working with. We're going to see if the Bills regress. We're going to see it. Everybody's going to let it all hang out finally, and it's going to be awesome.
I love it.
And your Dalton Kincaid situation is going to, be worked out.
We'll see how it works out.
Start. I don't think it's going to be a week one magic.
No, I agree.
I think it's going to be a few weeks
I'm going week
impact.
6.
Yeah, I can see by week 6 he's like a feature of the offense at that point, worked in.
Haley, what's your sneaky good game of the week?
So my sneaky, I wrote quote unquote good because I don't think this is going to be a good game, but I'm going to enjoy watching it because I think that it's going to set the tone for both of these team seasons. It's going to be the Raiders and the Broncos game. I'm really interested to see how the Broncos come out with all the Sean Payton drama and all that. And I want to see if he can put his money where his mouth is and where we're at on the Russell Westbrook experience. So I think we're going to see just how bad both the Raiders and or the Broncos are. So
I think the Broncos are going to be okay.
I think they are.
I'm not so
I think
sure.
They're going to improve.
Me too.
I'm not so
sure.
They
can't not do that. So.
Yeah, there's not really much they can go but up.
It's the altitude.
It's true.
I like that though. I do think that's going to be a good. We're going to see what these two teams are this year. We're going to get a good look at it.
My sneaky good game is the Cincy Cleveland game. I always love this game just because it's a bit of a rivalry. I hate that the colors are so similar. Obviously, Joe Burrow supremacy. Fuck Deshaun Watson. Sorry, Cleveland lovers.
Not
I do think
sorry.
that this is going to be a good game, though. And I have Nick Chubb on my fantasy team, and I have Joe Burrow. So,
Love it.
slay.
Good stuff.
And we both have
The
our
same.
don't waste your time game as the Arizona Washington game, and you have a silver medal.
I have a silver medal for the Bucks and the Vikings game. I'm just I've already made it clear I'm not necessarily in on the whole Bucks starting QB lore. But I'm just not excited about that matchup at all. I'm not gonna watch it. I don't think I have
I think
anybody
the Bucks
playing.
are gonna get their ass beat.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, that'll be fun to
It's
watch.
gonna be a very one-sided affair for Kirky boy.
Yeah. JJ gonna eat. All right. Tyler and I got a couple bets, and then we're gonna talk about some college football, and then we're gonna close it out. So for me, bets this week, I like the Jets money line plus 120. I don't think the wheels are gonna fall off in this situation anytime soon. If they are going to, it's just sure as shit not gonna be week one. Aaron Rodgers is 10-5 all time in week one games, and I like the Jets D way better, and I think that that's gonna be the difference maker here. Tyler, what's your
Damn.
first?
So this is gonna come out probably. I don't know when you're gonna release the audio, but I don't
I'm
think I'll
probably
have
gonna do
time
it
to do
tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I don't think I'll have time to do the video before the game tomorrow
Fine.
night. I like Jahmyr Gibbs anytime touchdown. I think maybe he's being hyped up too much, and I'm buying into it. They speak so highly of him in
Yeah, a lot of
Detroit
people
in
are.
the organization. I think he could be really good. I think Detroit's going to lose the game. I'll say it. I think it feels like a trap.
Yeah.
The line keeps moving towards the Lions, and I don't like it. I feel like the Chiefs. It's could end up being a blowout. Don't like it. I'm also on the Steelers. That's my upset of the week. I think Steelers get the 49ers at home. We know how I feel about their quarterback situation. I don't like it. I think Steelers defense is really good, even with the losses they had this offseason. And I think Kenny Pickett plays better than people are expecting him to.
I think Kenny Pickett's going to make a huge jump this year.
Yeah, I think I think the Steelers are like a sneaky team.
That whole division
I don't think you
is
should sleep
kinda
on the
sneaky.
Steelers. They're
No, I
viewed
don't
as like a
either.
team that's down, but I think they could be pretty good this year.
I think that division is kind of filthy.
Yeah.
I have CMC in this game. Anytime TD is plus 100, I like those odds. Can't even lie to you.
Yeah, I feel like whenever you get plus money for Christian McCaffrey to score a touchdown, I think it's
Take it.
a safe bet.
Yeah.
He could score. He could score a touchdown in every game he plays in this year.
I agree. And then
he's
I
healthy,
obviously have, before you talk about the sad cat parlay, I have Calvin Ridley anytime TD plus 130. Got to show off the new toy. The Colts suck. They're gonna make it rain. The end. That's how I feel. All right, what's the SCP, Tyler?
The sad cat parlay back for week one. Detroit is not participating because they're too sad this week. Jacksonville, big favorite. Are they at home? I think so.
No, they're in Indy.
They're in Indy and they're still big favorites. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Indy
big favorites
sucks.
in Indy. Cincinnati over the Browns, and then Carolina. I forget who they played, but I kind of like Carolina this year. I think they could win that week one game. I think it's Atlanta, maybe. I definitely don't like Atlanta, but
Okay.
I'm a known Atlanta hater. But
True.
that's week one for the sad cat parlay. Fingers crossed.
Sweet. All right, we're gonna talk about some college football stuff really quick. I'm gonna pull that up. Only other things from last week, I think we already talked about Clemson and Duke. I do want to say I had a random UNC thought that I put under the Clemson Duke stuff. The fact that this Tez Walker kid is not allowed to play and is having to reach out to political figures is such fucking bullshit, especially because it's mental health stuff and he's trying to protect himself and his feelings. Fuck the NCAA. I swear to God, not letting kids like Tez play doesn't hurt anything but your product. I'm going to say that again. Not letting kids like Tez Walker play football only hurts your product. And I'm so serious about that. Like, why are you fucking with kids? Like, especially if they're not troublemakers, there was a technicality, and that's the reason that it was declined through a COVID year. And they're not letting this kid go play closer to home with his family.
Yeah.
Because
it's so stupid.
I hate it. I
That's
hate it so
awful.
much. I feel so bad for this kid. That was my only other. I thought about it because of the Duke UNC rivalry, whatever. I just had to throw that out there. Big game of the week. The hottest ticket in town now is Dion in Colorado upset TCU. It was at TCU, correct?
Correct.
Yes, correct.
That was such a good game. I have to say, Tyler,
Shockingly
you convinced
good.
me.
Shockingly
You
good.
convinced me that they weren't going to be good. And
Well, I knew. So for the record, I knew. I was confident that Dion was gonna succeed in at Colorado. I just didn't think it would be this soon.
You
Yeah.
That was
famously
shocking.
said 3 wins.
Yeah, but
Does
I thought
this
it would
change
take
the
more than
number?
1 year.
Does this change the number for you?
Well, of course they look better than they have. I'm not. I was wrong on Colorado. I'm not gonna move the goalposts on them, but they look much better than I initially anticipated.
do you think that Shadur is an NFL caliber quarterback? Also,
Absolutely.
there's already Travis
I think
Hunter
he looks like one
merchandise.
of. He is probably a top 5 quarterback in college football this year, right now.
I think
Immediately.
that he's giving like Tyler Huntley vibes.
I don't know. I think it's still early. He has a whole nother year left if he wants it. I don't
And
even
he
know.
should take
Can
it.
he go to the NFL this year? I think he might just be a sophomore.
I
I'm not even sure if he's eligible.
don't know. That's a good. No, I'm not even saying. I'm just asking if you think that he will play in the NFL at some point. Because
I think he has the potential to. Yeah,
me
absolutely.
too.
I things could go wrong. He could like not develop but right now it looks like his ceiling is NFL. Yeah, absolutely.
Any thoughts on the Michigan game?
They did what they needed to. I don't think it was really they ran the clock a lot. I think their defense looked really good. JJ McCarthy had like a shockingly good QBR. Which
I'm
I
big
think
on
for
JJ
what it
McCarthy.
was, for what that game was, I think it was good, positive signs for Michigan.
I think that Ohio State underperformed. I know they won and they held Indiana to 3 points, but I think they needed to hang it on them a bit.
Yeah, so their offense is definitely disappointing. Of the like top 4 teams, I'm not reading too much into that first game because it is just Indiana. I don't really think they opened up the playbook as much as they could have. And it was a Big Ten opponent. But I don't know. Their offense is definitely not the caliber it usually is. But that said, their defense is way better than it usually is at this time of the year anyway. Like this game last year probably would have been like a 47 to like 20 something game. Their defense was kind of lock and key this week.
Haley, I'm throwing you into the mix here. What are your thoughts on like in the Oregon and Oklahoma games this week when teams put up like 73-0, 81-7? Like, do you have thoughts on, as someone who works in college sports, that situation?
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because I think it goes to show how much we've seen college football come down to the almighty dollar, in the sense that if you don't know, now you know. You get paid to play those games.
Pretty penny too.
And get the shit embarrassed out of you. With that being said, I certainly don't watch them. If you notice in the Pick'em challenge that we do, I'm not going to be putting those games in for obvious reasons. And I just think that it's kind of, I don't know, it's tough to think that beyond the names of the teams are student athletes that are going out there and giving it their all. And I can imagine probably really embarrassing to go up against an Alabama or a Georgia, as we're going to see in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, we saw this week with Alabama and Oregon, and this week I think we're going to see the same with Georgia at Ball State. But I don't know, man. It's good in a sense because these athletic departments for these smaller teams do benefit. They do get money out of it. And, I would hope that they can use that in a beneficial way, because it is so difficult sometimes for those smaller schools to get funding for their athletic departments. But the fact that it comes at the expense of embarrassing college players and coaches is just kind of a tough pill to swallow for me personally. But
True. Okay, and then last thing that we're gonna talk about before we get into some stuff for this week, Haley and I watched the LSU Florida State game together, and I know Tyler watched it. My big takeaway from this, Tyler and I were both on LSU last week to win this game, but my big takeaway is that I'm not shocked that LSU had some regression and they were a bit fraudulent. I'm more so shocked how, and I honestly don't even think that this score accurately represents how good Florida State looked.
No, I don't. I completely agree.
I
think
agree.
Florida State in the back half of that game, they bullied that LSU defense, and it's an LSU defense I consider to be like really good. Maybe they weren't coached the way they should have been, but I think there's so much talent on that LSU defense, and they just completely bullied them.
Yeah, I agree. It was
like in all aspects of the game, like passing and running. Like it was
Yeah.
crazy how good FSU was. My rankings, I have FSU, I think, is the number 4 team.
Yeah, FSU looked dirty, man. It was
Number 3 even. They're my 3 team in my top 10.
Let me pull up their schedule because
It's kind of soft, I will say, especially after the Clemson loss.
I know I was just gonna say the Clemson
soft.
situation. All right, so wait, they're at BC this weekend.
Shout out.
Don't give BC any credit, please. That
Wait,
team is
JK,
bad.
JK,
That team is bad.
That's next weekend. Southern Miss at Florida State this weekend. BC next weekend. They play Clemson early, which is good for them, I think. They play Clemson the following week.
Yeah.
Then
I think they absolutely destroy Clemson. If the team that showed up the other day shows up for that game, Clemson doesn't stand a chance.
I don't think that their schedule is soft, but I don't think it's too difficult for them to overcome. They're going to play Clemson. I don't really think Virginia Tech and Syracuse are anything crazy. They're going to play Duke, Wake Forest.
Virginia Tech is historically not good right now.
Pitt, Miami, and they end their season with Florida.
Miami is probably the toughest opponent. If Miami lives up to what Miami could be on paper.
But Florida in a neutral location is always a game. It doesn't matter who's better that year. It's still a rivalry week.
Billy's going to have to turn that team around if he wants to win that game.
Oh, I agree. I think that they
right
could be
now,
dog
he's
shit,
the worst
though.
coach in the Power 5, Billy Napier.
I think that team could be dog shit and they'll still put up a fight against FSU is what I'm saying.
They could, but I firmly am in the belief that Florida State's the national contender.
Oh, I agree with you.
And Florida is, in fact, the opposite of that.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on last week?
Let me run through this real quick. I don't think anything big. Carson Beck at Georgia didn't do anything to overly impress me, but I also think they didn't open up the playbook. Michigan I touched on. Ohio State I touched on. Alabama I think showed some promise week 1. They were playing Middle Tennessee State, so take that for what it is. Jalen Milroe I think is the starter until he loses the job. I think this week is going to be very big for him. Obviously, it's Texas week.
Yeah.
West Virginia, Penn State, Drew Aller's the best quarterback in the Big Ten in my book. And I think until Ohio State can kind of get their offensive situation under control, I think they are the number 2 team in the Big Ten, behind Michigan. Texas, slow start for them too at Rice versus Rice last week. It was at home. I'm not too worried about that. And South Carolina is very disappointing. Very upset with them. Spencer Rattler, I cannot get a read on him. Every time I bet on Spencer Rattler, a different Spencer Rattler shows up. There's multiple Spencer Rattlers. There are multiple Spencer Rattlers, I'm convinced, because the quarterback that showed up to beat Tennessee and Clemson last year was not the one we saw the other night.
Yeah. I do not. I know. And
then the last thing I'll touch on, the Texas A&M might be back. ? Connor Wegman and their new offensive system with Bobby Petrino calling plays now. they might be good. They've got so much talent on paper that they should be much better than they
Their
are.
schedule's just
but-
so hard.
Yeah, schedule's tough. The SEC, but the SEC West is
SEC
just
West.
it's a war. But
Yeah.
they could
Unless
be
that
really
you
good. They
have
could
a
be the
top
number 2
recruiting
team
class.
in
Nah.
that division.
Disagree. If I'm taking a dark horse, it's gonna be Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, I just don't think has. They just have on paper. Texas A&M has probably the most talented roster in the country.
But they're
But
just
their
so
coaching,
gritty.
the coaching of Texas A&M is the big question mark. I just don't think they're coached. I'm not a Jimbo believer.
Hell no. I grew up watching Jimbo at Florida State. Ain't no fucking way I'll ever believe in one of his teams. Mm-mm.
That offense, though, is dangerous. You can't sleep on that offense. But then I think that's it. That's all I really got. Virginia Tech, good win at ODU.
Okay.
Shockingly for them.
All right, Haley. It is your time to shine, sister girl.
Alrighty, we are in week 2 of our college pick'em challenge. A little recap from last week. Kendra, you won the weekend, going 1-3. Tyler going 0-4 for his.
We are
picks.
off to a great start.
So we're off to a great
Damn.
start. Game number 1 I have for you guys is Nebraska at number 22, Colorado. Kendra, why don't you go first?
I am very anti-Nebraska until Nebraska shows me that they aren't Nebraska anymore or a Nebraska of old. I will always bet against them. I also am full steam ahead on the Dion train. I think that it would be very Dion for him to win this game. I think it's a more even game. I think the only thing that's setting Colorado over for me, though, is that their team is a little bit more athletic and they're riding that high. I think if this game was in like week 6, I'd probably rock with Nebraska. But week 2, I'm not going to do that. And it's the hottest ticket in town now. Tickets to get in the door are like $400.
It's going to be
ridiculous.
insane.
Yeah.
Nebraska's sold out every game for like years now, though.
Well, yeah, but they have a very good fan base, a very dedicated fan base.
Totally.
Nebraska does.
Yeah.
I, for the most part, agree with everything you said. I think this is going to be a big test for Colorado's offensive line. Nebraska's defense is much better than TCU's. But I think it's going to be a big test for the offensive line. If Nebraska can get their offense together, they could be in this game. But I think they're very like classical Big Ten offense. It seemed last week. They just don't really. They run the ball a lot. They don't really go deep. And I think that's how you're going to have to play to beat Colorado. I think that offense is just going to be too quick for them. If Colorado gets ahead, I don't think Nebraska's going to be able to catch up.
Okay.
Good shit. Game number 2. 2 ranked teams. Apparently, this is pretty wild that I put this on here, but
It's such a random game.
Mississippi, number 20, Mississippi at number 24, Tulane. I think you're both on the same page for this one.
Before we get into it, shout out for Ole Miss for scheduling a road game against the G5 team. You don't see that much.
Yeah. I'm taking. All right, I have a lot to say here, but before I do, Tyler, I want to know your thoughts first this time.
On Ole Miss?
Yes.
I think they've got one of the best offensive minds in football in Lane Kiffin, and
I agree.
think they easily win this game. Easily might be a stretch. 6.5, I think, was the line on it. I like him to win and cover, probably by like 14, 17 points. But yeah, I think Mississippi State's offense is just going to be. Yeah, I think they're really good. I love their quarterback situation. I love the talent they have around them. The defense is, I think, that's why I'm not very as high on this team. I think they're a middle of the pack SEC West team.
Yeah. Okay, that's valid. The only reason that I don't think that this is an upset watch by any means is just because Tulane's one of those teams that we see hang around in, the 20 to 25 range just because they hang out somewhere a little over 500. They don't really play anybody huge, but they always have that one opponent or two opponents on their schedule that they hang really well with every year, and people over respect Tulane. They
They
upset
had a really good
somebody.
year last year too. They upset
Yeah.
USC in their bowl game.
Yeah,
It was a really good year.
I was just gonna say they upset somebody at some point, and people ride the wave, the green wave
The green
specifically.
wave.
Yes, that was
Good
the
one.
joke.
That was a
I
good
do
one.
love their uniforms.
Thank you.
Some of the best jerseys in college
Yeah,
football, Tulane.
they're so
I
nice.
love their colors.
Their colors
Totally.
are sick.
And New Orleans is like pretty swaggy, you know, whatever. But the thing is it's just that I don't think that they're one of those teams that's gonna upset anybody early. I think that you got to get into the meat of the season, and that's just they hang out there because inevitably they beat somebody at some point during the
Can't
season.
go off the ranking for them.
Here's the rest of Tulane's schedule.
But I don't think that that's going to be this weekend.
No, I don't think it's
Alrighty.
going to be this weekend either.
Game 3, I have Tyler's team he's riding with so far for the CFB season. Number 13, Oregon at Texas Tech. If Oregon wins, it would be the third non-conference team since 2000 to hand the Red Raiders an L at home. Fun little
And
stat there for
I
you.
really wish Texas Tech didn't drop that game last week. If Texas Tech didn't drop the game last week to Wyoming, I would feel so much better about this game because I know Texas Tech is going to come out fighting like even harder this week because they don't want to start 0-2 because they had a lot of hype this offseason. And it's like, I'm very scared of the wounded animal, Texas Tech.
I am JMO and Nancy.
Nancy creeping in the background.
Nancy.
If you could just
I-
cut that.
I'm gonna rock with Oregon just because I'm really high on them in Peter Pan this year.
Yeah, I'm
Cool.
also really high on them, but I'm terrified of it.
Me too.
I think on paper, Oregon should win pretty, not easily, but they should win.
It would just be so classic for Bo Nix to transfer out of Auburn and then have like a Heisman eligible year. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
So we're both rocking Oregon.
Mhm.
Sounds good. All right. Number 11, Texas at number 3, Alabama. I'm gonna say probably game of the week.
Yeah, probably. Kendra, you want to go first? I know you're calling audible.
I really thought that there was a way I could convince myself into taking Texas here, and I thought that it was going to be just because Tyler and I had everything the same, but I can't do it. I'm rocking with Bama. It's at home.
Yeah.
That's it.
I can't not bet Bama. I think their defense looked so good last week. Even though it was Middle Tennessee State, their defense was really impressive. I thought they were kind of firing on all cylinders last week. Noticeably more disciplined than they were last year. Almost no, I think they had 3 penalties or something like that. There was a very clean game they played last week. And it's kind of just a experience thing. Saban has the experience on Sark. And I still really like Texas this year. They could still go, they could win the rest of the way, maybe sneak into the playoffs if everything goes their way. Still win the Big 12. But yeah, I'm going with Alabama.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Hales?
I have one more that you guys are going to have to call an audible on right now based on our discussion from this episode. Number 23, Texas A&M at Miami, Florida.
Give me Miami.
Tyler?
Tyler, you talked a lot of shit about Texas A&M.
I'm going
Yep.
against them. I really like both of these teams. I think they're both they have really good potential, each of them. I think I'm gonna go Texas A&M upsetting Miami at home, even though I don't think it's an upset. I think they are the favorite in the match. Maybe
They are favorite.
Yeah.
a light favorite.
Based on the rankings only, which we know are sometimes trash.
Going
So
to Miami.
I like that offense. With Bobby Petrino calling plays, I'm very high on that offense. And I think Connor Wegman's kind of having a resurgence of his career. He looked really bad last year, and I think this is kind of a resurgence for him.
well, I'm very happy because you picked somebody different.
Yes.
So one of you will pull ahead this week and we'll find out who it is.
Well,
I was
Or
gonna
maybe
say-
you'll tie.
maybe I'll tie. Yeah.
Maybe you'll
My
tie.
one college football bet this week that I like, and I'm gonna go put money on it right now. I have the Miami money line. It's plus 170, and I like that.
Yeah, it's. I think it could easily go either way. But who knows?
Haley, anything else?
That's it.
All right, couple other college football things. I am thinking my upset of the week is going to be, I think NC State's going to beat Notre Dame.
Wow.
I
And
could
my
see
game-
it, but
I think I feel that way.
I'm not sold. NC State's kind of in a rebuilding stage right now. Brennan Armstrong, I'm not sold on. They had a player like something happened to him. Had to get stretchered off the field. Their starting safety last week. I think it's a starting safety, but it was kind of scary. And I really like Notre Dame. I think that offense is great.
Shout out our boy Rob.
Yeah,
At
I had
NC
shout
State.
out Rob in our notes. I just took the NC State money line, and I also took Miami's
What's the line
money
on
line.
that? NC State, the money line.
It is NC State's plus 235.
Yeah, not bad. It's probably where I
And
would expect it to be.
the spread 7.5.
It's Notre Dame's first big test of the year, even though it's not a huge test. But I think I'm confident in Notre Dame, but anything's possible, as Kevin Garnett once said.
Yeah, I also had the Utah Baylor game on here just because do I think Utah balled the fuck out? Yes. Do I expect them to be that good? No. And Baylor had a down week last week, so I'm expecting some motherfucking chaos. But that being said,
Shout
do
out
not bet
your
on this
former Auburn boy, right? TJ Finley. Did he go to Auburn or was he LSU?
You're
Yeah, he beat Baylor.
yeah.
Shout out to him.
All right, Tyler, your bets or games of the week. Go.
So I'm watching JMU UVA for obvious reasons. I went into the week initially really liking JMU. Then UVA's quarterback is out. Their starting quarterback's out, and I found out they're honoring the victims of last year's shooting, which rest in peace. But JMU's set up for failure here. How do they expect that if we win, we're the enemies and we're just the villains of the sport, and if we lose, obviously it's a game that they're going to play extra hard in. We're set up for failure.
Okay.
I still like JMU -6. We're easily the better team on paper. SMU at Oklahoma. You mentioned Oklahoma completely blew out Arkansas State last week. I expect SMU's defense to be a lot better than Arkansas State's, and I'm curious to see what Oklahoma's offense looks like. I'm not betting on that game. It's just a curious game for me. App State UNC. I'm on App State plus 18.5. They played UNC really close last year at home. Now they're on the road. 18.5 points is just a lot to give up to a team that you only beat by like 4 points last year, maybe less.
Yeah.
So I'm taking App State and the points. And then the other game I kind of have my eye on. I might end up betting it. We'll see. Follow me on the socials for my full list of bets. I'm definitely going to add more.
Shout out.
Auburn Cal is interesting. It's on the road. Auburn's on the road. They're only a 6.5 point favorite on the road.
Dude,
and
Cal
I think
Twitter,
I think Cal's
good.
better. I think Cal's better than people think they historically are. I think Vegas kind of agrees with me because the line's less than a touchdown. But I think they're better than a lot of people expect Cal to be. I don't think they're great, but this could be an upset spot for Auburn.
Okay.
And then that is all for now.
I also think it's an upset spot for Auburn. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
That is all for now.
Okay. Perfect. Anything else, party peeps?
Yep.
All right. We already talked about PLL, so we're gonna hop in F1. The show is gonna be long as fuck. Sorry. World's fastest F1 review. Haley, Ferrari thoughts.
My Ferrari fangirl corner. Carlos tied for first with Max in the power rankings ahead of this weekend. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I've made my position on Carlos clear. He did finish this week third place at Monza, putting some points on the board for Ferrari. I'm not a huge so I really like Carlos. I like him as a person and as a driver. I think I can see his likability and I get that. I am through and through Team Charles. Obviously, I love Charles. He's my favorite driver on the grid. And I'm a stan. I'm going to point blank period. That's my bias right there. So you can either take what I say at face value or you can just excuse it for bias or whatever. I totally get that. But I have made it clear I'm not a huge fan of the way that Carlos doesn't necessarily listen to team direction and kind of just does his own thing. Again, that's because I'm a huge Charles fan. So that could be, why, but that's just my personal opinion. I wish Charles could have snuck up on the podium, but he came in fourth, and I'll take the points. So all in all, I would say it's a successful weekend for Ferrari, especially coming off of the Dutch Grand Prix. Yeah, I know just sometimes Carlos rubs me the wrong way, but I thought it was a good weekend and a good showing for the team.
Yeah, see, I'm on the opposite coin from you here. I really think that Charles kind of acted like a baby this weekend. Like, do I understand that he's clearly their number one driver and what have you? Yeah, Carlos is already ahead in the championship. You're getting team points either way. Keep the 2-3. Carlos earned the fuck out of every lap that he led. He earned that position in quali, and he defended Max better than I think we've seen anybody else do for longer than we've seen anybody else defend him this week. That was absolutely Carlos's podium. Had they told Charles to switch with him, I think that I would have lost faith in Ferrari, and I think that you would have really lost Carlos in that race and wanting to be a team player more than you already have.
That's a fair opinion.
Yeah, that's how I feel about that. Also, the Ferrari mom feud was clickbait for the ages.
Insane.
And the watch. That was also...
Yeah, we can jump into Mercedes a little bit. I have in our notes, I swear to God, Toto was losing years off his life in the second half of the season here. My man's is very stressed. And I think he has a right to be. With that being said, I think that Lewis's social media presence has made it very clear that he is dedicated to Mercedes, obviously with the contract extension that he just signed. But also, I think, he's been very vocal about, next year, we're going to come back, we're going to be better. I think he has come to the realization finally that the car is not where it needs to be, and it's not going to be where it needs to be by the end of the season. But I think that him signing that extension and, kind of solidifying him, George, and Toto as a trio, I think they're going to be able to maybe, I hope for their sake, make some improvements in the offseason and come back next year with a better car that is more compatible and on the same speed as a Red Bull, or even, seeing Fernando in this Aston Martin, for Christ's sake, sometimes. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on Mercedes. I don't know if you have anything you wanted to add.
I wanted to say that I think that George's personality really showed this weekend. I'm not the biggest George fan, as it's known, but he had some haha he-he's. Him talking about having a car up his ass was also pretty funny. His Head and Shoulders shampoo situation. George, you're fine this week. We can be friends. Also,
I like George.
I just want to shout out both Oscar Piastri and Lewis Hamilton for their collision and how they handled it this week. I think that they were both super mature, especially Oscar Piastri. Lewis is who he is. He beefs with Max and certain drivers, but he's not a bad person, and he really cares about these young kids. And I think that that's super, just something to shout out. 100%. I also almost had a perfect podium last week.
Yeah, you did. Very good.
My only driver off was Checo. And I have to say that Liam Lawson and Alex Albon are both that bitch, and the racing gods hate Yuki, and that's all I have to say.
Yeah, Alex Albon, number 3 in power rankings, FTW. We love Alex Albon, and I think that's a huge accomplishment for both him as a driver and for the Williams team. I was really impressed with him this week. He came in 7th. But you know what? I thought he did some really great defensive driving, especially holding off Lando. And I was really impressed with him. I continue to be impressed by Alex, and I find him just so likable and adorable. I really want him to do well. The only last thing I'm going to add is I'm going to come out of the closet as this right now. I do not like Zach with McLaren, their principal.
Okay.
And I have a feeling that he's doing some sketchy shit, as we have seen him do in Drive to Survive with the Daniel incident. And I just don't know how I feel about
I like that about him.
No, I don't like him at all. I think he's an absolute snake. And he gives me the ick, if I'm going to be 100% honest. So I'm a little bit spooked to see what's going to happen with McLaren, because I love Piastri.
We love you, Duracell.
At Duracell, love you, Duracell.
We're Williams girlies.
We're Williams girlies. I'm because I love Piastri and Lando so much, I really hope he doesn't screw one of them over.
If Lando goes to Red Bull, I swear to God.
I would be psyched.
No, I would hate that. And here's why. I know that I'm a Red Bull girly. We know it. I love everything that AlphaTauri and Red Bull have except for Checo. But here's my problem. Lando Norris is a sweet, sensitive, perfect little soul. He cannot be bothered with Christian Horner and his pressure. And we've seen what they've done.
That's crazy for you. He's dealing with Zach. Zach
Christian
is
Horner is way worse.
worse.
No, we saw what Red Bull did to Alex Albon, and look how he's doing now. And everyone else that they've put through there, Nick DeVries, everybody.
Look at what happened with Zach and how he's treated his drivers in the past, and the fact that other principals and F1
But they give him
professionals,
time.
no, because they're like, you can't trust this guy. You cannot trust him.
I
Like,
think it
he's
would be
just
worse
a
for Lando if he went to Red
snake.
Bull, though, just because of the expectation that if you're not keeping up with Max, you're out, and nobody's keeping up with Max.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, for me, it's that, like, Lando's clearly a number one driver here. I like the team dynamic. Things are going well. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah. I don't know. I would love to see him race for anybody but Zach, because I don't like
Mm.
him. And I think that
I
he
would-
doesn't really care about them.
I think it's a great situation for McLaren and both drivers. I wouldn't be mad if he went somewhere else. I just don't want to see him go to Red Bull just because of how quickly they dispose of people. Except for fucking Checo for some reason.
Yeah.
Any other F1 thoughts?
No, ma'am.
Okay, time to get to our closing segments. Haley doesn't have a tweet of the week, so I have a joint tweet of the week of ours. I found out this weekend that New Englanders call water fountains bubblers. And the divide that this created on the internet and the hate that I got for this was fucking unreal.
Why am I not
Yes.
surprised?
That
you
we
call it
call them
bubblers.
bubbler. Well, so
No.
technically we call it a bubbler. We don't say bubbler. It's a
You don't
bubbler.
pronounce-
The amount
yeah,
of people
okay.
that made that joke.
I'm with you, Kendra.
But
Thank you.
this has been a thing since my childhood. I've always called it a bubbler my whole life. I didn't realize that you guys didn't call it that. There was some discourse on the internet. It is not entirely a Massachusetts thing. It is definitely not a New England thing. It is a Southern Massachusetts, Rhode Island thing, which is where I'm from. So that makes sense, I guess.
I was gonna make a joke
but-
about roundabouts and rotaries, but your comment section was already flooded with them.
Yeah, it is a
Yes.
rotary for
It's a
sure.
It is
roundabout.
not. It's a roundabout.
The other thing that I was gonna add here, and thank you for people defending me on Twitter, appreciate you, is that I consider a water fountain something you throw coins into, for reference. So a
I just call that a
bubbler,
fountain. I don't.
Right.
I think I don't. I don't think. I use
Bubblers
the
make
term
me
water.
think of bongs.
well,
Yeah.
okay, I love that for me.
Or
All right,
like-
anyways.
Or like seltzer water.
Yeah, I get that. Either one of
Alright.
those.
This is getting out of hand.
I'm a big seltzer water guy.
I hate seltzer
Well,
water.
good thing you're on a seltzer show.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Tea party segment. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner are getting a divorce because Sophie Turner likes to party, and I have to say that I am Team Sansa. The end.
Team Sansa, FTW, Starks greater than Jonas.
Yeah, I've always been Team Frankie. So
Awesome.
We have always been Team Frankie.
I kind of have some sad tea, you guys, and I
Oh,
don't like doing
man.
this, and I'm sorry. But Fiona Crawley, UNC tennis player, played at the US Open this past weekend. My girl made $81,000 in winnings, and she had to forfeit all of it due to NCAA regulations. And I think she handled it like a complete professional. It was really covered in the media, which I'm sure is not easy as a college-aged person that is not typically in the spotlight. Granted, you were playing in the US Open, and I give kudos to her for handling all that in the public eye. But I think it's unfortunate that she had to give up her winnings. And I think if we're going to move into NIL and elaborate our ability to compensate these players for their skills and their abilities, that we need to take things like that into consideration, because it's extremely unfortunate that she can't be recognized for her successes financially.
this happens every now and then with amateurs in golf too. It's such a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. The NCAA doesn't benefit student athletes. It only hurts
No.
them. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
It's just abolish the NCAA.
I think that's a good summary of
Agree.
it, Kendra, for sure.
Yeah.
They're
All
not
right.
their main concern.
Anything else before we talk about Tyler's moon?
Yep. Tell me how the moon does.
Yeah, let's
the
talk
moon.
about the
I
moon.
imagine it's telling me that it's time for bed.
Today
I know
it
you're doing
says
great, Tyler.
that you and I are hot and cold right now. It feels like you are ghosting me, and I have a deeper need from you than I'm admitting, allegedly.
Well, I'm sorry for
Are you sure
ghosting
that
you.
says your name?
But it also says that we're both interested in untying our knots right now, and it's saying I should ask how you're doing and then how you're feeling.
Wow.
Are you gonna ask?
How are you doing?
Pretty good.
How are you feeling?
Fine.
Okay. Glad we
Great.
talked.
Lovely talk.
Love you.
Love
I'm more
you.
interested in me and Haley's horoscope. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because
Yay!
this just roasted the absolute fuck out of my entire existence.
Uh-oh.
I
It
thought the
says-
previous one already did. To
No,
be
this is
honest.
so much worse. It says Haley D blocks a phone number because icing them out IRL wasn't enough.
Icing them out?
T.
What does
It
that
says
even
that
mean?
I block a phone number because I meant to give out a fake number at the bar but forgot, and that is so true. And then that is such shade. But then it goes on to say Tyler has no self-restraint unless technology intervenes.
I do
Wow.
have very little self-restraint, especially when it comes to food.
So we really all got roasted but Haley, because the amount of times that I try to give out a fake number at the bar and then panic,
It does seem kind of on brand.
it's so on brand. This is why I'm saying I'm an astrology girly. Do I believe in it for everybody? No. Do I believe in it for me because it's always scarily accurate? Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna ditto that. I am feeling much more confident in myself this week. I had a really bad week last week, and I'm just all about me right now. So kind of love that for me.
That being said, that
Because
goes.
the moon was blue last week.
No, it's because it's not blue anymore. Actually, if you want to know the
Oh.
tea.
I'm blue.
So that goes into my closing thought. I got a sign from the universe to do something for me today that will benefit future me. I downloaded something from Canva, and the file name was "Do Something Today That Future You Will Thank You For." So I'm going to echo that sentiment to all of you. Do something for yourselves this week. Love you guys. Any closing thoughts? Anybody else?
I love that. I hope everyone has a great week. Enjoy your football. Hope everybody does well in their fantasy. Keep us updated on socials, how you're doing, and anything that you want us to chat about in the next episode or online. And we'll see you next week.
Tyler, anything?
Nope. Let's win all our bets this week.
Yeah. Okay. Love you, party peeps. Keep on sipping, y'all. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to this long ass episode.
Oh, so sorry.